What's up everybody, Jerry Scalato here with another episode of Thriveology 101, and today I want to start the series on New Year's resolutions. Of course, 2020 is just around the corner, as we all well know. It seems like 2019 just up and went away like that. But nonetheless, we are approximately 1 month away to New Year's time, which means that we're all going to be setting goals for 2020. If you don't set goals on a regular basis, this is something that I encourage you to do, and I encourage you to pay attention to the series as much as possible to make sure that you're getting the most benefits out of your New Year's resolution setting or your goal setting in general. Now, at the end of this episode, I'll have a little surprise for you, an event we have coming up that I want to let you know about. But nonetheless, the series that we're going to start today, like I said, is going to go through the steps that it takes to set New Year's resolutions or just goals in general. So you don't have to just do this once a year, although that's when most people set goals, is just once a year. You can do this anytime that you set goals. And it's a simple process, but it's broken down into two sections. So the first section that we're going to break it up into is getting started. As we all know, whenever it comes to starting new habits, whenever it comes to starting new projects or getting things going, it can be tough to do. You have to do a lot of research if you're that kind of person, or you have to ask people, their opinions on what they're doing. There's a lot of things that go into getting started. And then of course there is the action of actually doing the thing. So getting started is the first obstacle that most people run into, that everybody runs into when it comes to creating a new habit, setting a goal, and getting going on that goal. The second thing, which is much longer than getting started, or should be much longer than getting started, is keep going. So if getting started is the first obstacle, keep going is the second obstacle, which seems funny because it's not an obstacle, because all you have to do is keep going, which makes sense. But nonetheless, as we all well know, we all have great intentions, but intentions are simply that, they are intentions. And we've all set New Year's resolutions, or a lot of people have set New Year's resolutions to change their health and fitness at the beginning of the year. But most people who start that New Year's resolution, end it by the end of January or the middle of February. That's 90% of people in their health and fitness New Year's resolutions within a 4 to 6 week period, which is a super short period of time. And it doesn't make any sense, but that's the obstacle. The obstacle is to keep going. So we're going to break this down into steps, things that you can do, actionable steps that you can take in order to make sure that you're optimizing your getting started portion and then your keep going portion. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is creating a compelling vision of the future. Now, if you haven't heard of this before, maybe I can link this together by letting you know a little bit about Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. If you've ever read this book, you know what the book's about. If you haven't read the book, then I encourage that you do that. I'll put a link at the bottom. Anytime you start a project or anytime you set a goal, you need to have a reason why you're doing it. A lot of people start health and fitness because their doctor tells them that they need to, or their spouse tells them that they're overweight, not looking good, heavy, need to lose some weight, whatever it is, which isn't super encouraging, obviously, or some other possibly external reason. That's not a good, compelling why. That's not a good reason to start your health and fitness journey. So in order to do that, whether it is in health and fitness or in some other domain, in order to do that properly, you need to have a compelling vision of the future. So here's exactly what that is. Look at yourself 3 to 5 years down the road and write down exactly what it is that you look like if you ingrain this new habit, this goal. If you reach this goal and you continue on with that new habit, what do you look like 3 to 5 years down the road? What is the perfect you, not the perfect you, because none of us can be perfect, but what does an optimized you look like 3 to 5 years down the road after you've put this new habit into your life? There are 5 keys that you need to think about when it comes to creating an optimal, compelling vision of the future. If your goal is to lose, say, 20 pounds, and your vision of the future is, I'm 20 pounds lighter, and I have a little more energy, and I'm able to go up and down stairs without losing my breath, that's not very compelling. Again, it's at least internal, and it's not, oh, my doctor told me, so I made him happy. But it's at least an internal vision, but it's not super compelling. Again, you're not going to look at that every day and go, yes, I'm super excited about not being able to, or being able to catch my breath whenever I get to the top of the stairs. So you want to think about these 5 keys as you're writing your compelling vision. And your vision should be as long as you need to make it. Sometimes it can be 5 pages long. Sometimes if you're a super succinct person, it might be just 1 page long, but it's going to be longer than a couple of sentences. So the first key that you need to think about whenever you're starting your compelling vision and whenever you're sitting down to do this, the first key is to put yourself into an area of greatness and really think about being great. A lot of people have a hard time with this idea because we're told to stay in our lane. We're told to get into society, get into your job, don't try and push yourself too hard, don't step out of line, and to just kind of like stay the path. So the idea of going for something great doesn't really resonate with a lot of people because it's not something that you think about on a regular basis. But if you're going to create a compelling vision of the future that every time you read this thing, it excites you and it actually pushes you forward to want to continue with this new habit or with this goal, then it has to be something great. Otherwise, it's just going to be hard to do. So that's the first key to think about, is go for greatness. The second thing to do whenever you're creating your compelling vision is to write from the heart. It has to be from you. It can't be from the people around you. Like I already talked about, you can't have external validation. You can't be doing things for other people. You have to want to do things for you, and you have to write this compelling vision from the heart. Because if you're writing your compelling vision and you're writing it in terms of what other people might think about you, whenever you read it, again, you're just going to have negative feelings, because whenever you're trying to make other people happy in your life, most of the time it's just not going to turn out good, because you can't control what other people think. You can't control how other people are going to react to you. So with your compelling vision, you have to write from your own heart, and you have to write from how you think and how you feel about your time and about yourself in that 3 to 5 year frame. That's number 2. Number 3, the third key to writing a compelling vision, is putting yourself into the future. Again, this is another thing that most people don't do on a regular basis. Generally, the only time that we think about ourselves in the future is when we're being fearful of something coming up, or we're scared or anxious about something coming up. For instance, if you have to give a presentation at work, or if you have a project due that you're not close to being done, and that's 3 to 5 days away, then you might be thinking about the future, but you're only thinking about it in negative terms because you're either not close to being done with it, or if it's a presentation or a speech, then you're maybe the kind of person who gets antsy, which is everybody, who gets antsy about presenting in front of people, and you're just fearful of doing it. But not many people sit down on a regular basis and think about their future in a positive light. What is the best future for me? In 3 to 5 years, what might I look like? What might be going on in my life? What might the rest of my life feel like 3 to 5 years down the road if I implement this thing and I actually accomplish it and then make the best out of it for the rest of my life moving forward? So really sit down and think about it. Think about what 3 to 5 years, what does that look like? How do you feel? How do you, what's the rest of your life like? What's your family life? What's your energy like? How are your aches and pains? What's your body? How's your body functioning? And you really have to think about those things in depth. That's number 3, put yourself into the future. Once you've done that, number 4, the fourth key that you need to think about when writing your compelling vision is write quickly. And this one may not make much sense, but let me explain. If you've ever sat down to do some sort of in-depth thinking on, maybe a new idea that you're trying to put together, or some sort of, maybe you're putting a presentation together or something like that, and you're trying to write down your notes, and you sat down and you start to think and think and think, and you just can't catch anything. Part of that is because you're thinking too much. You're just allowing your mind, your conscious mind, to get in the way, and not letting your subconscious mind, the one that doesn't hold you back, your subconscious mind, to just flow out and just let it roll. So whenever you're writing your compelling vision and you're sitting down for the entire period of time, just let yourself write. Don't let your pen or your pencil come off the page. Just sit down and let yourself write. Speaking of which, you should write your compelling vision down and not type it down. You can type it down. Listen to me. Type it down, I say. Use a keyboard. A keyboard. I'm laughing because type and keyboard sound like things that you would say in the 80s and the 90s and not today. But I guess that's still the way that you say it. Nonetheless, whenever you're writing your compelling vision, use a pen and paper or pencil and paper and actually write it down, okay? There's a good process, there's a good thing with the connection of using your hand to write down your thoughts and your feelings. So you're writing your compelling vision, and as you're writing it, you're not picking your pen up off the paper and you're just writing. Just write. Don't let your mind get in the way. Don't let your societal norms get in the way. Don't let your beliefs and fears get in the way of possibilities of 3 to 5 years down the road. Just write and write and write. Then, of course, once it's written out, you can put it into a digital form and then print it out. That way you can look at it a little more easily if you'd like. But nonetheless, I encourage you to go analog on this and write as fast as you can. Do it quickly. Don't let your pen leave the paper. Number 5, the last thing that you need to think about when you're writing your compelling vision of the future is to make it personal. So this is a little different than writing from the heart. We talked about writing from the heart in step number 2. Writing from the heart means making sure to make it believable for you and making it come from you. Now, when you're making it personal, it's different because whenever you write something, and if you use words like you and they and them, it's not a connection to you yourself. You're not holding yourself accountable. You're not thinking of yourself in those terms. When you use words like I and me, then you're actually putting yourself in that place. You're putting yourself in that situation. So instead of using deflecting words like they and them and you and those guys, use words like I and me whenever you're writing your compelling vision down, because that's who you're talking about. You're talking about yourself. You're talking about I. You're talking about me. And most people, again, are not used to doing that because it looks or seems like a form of bragging or something along those lines, but this is your vision. This is what is going to push you forward to making yourself better, to achieving the things that you want to achieve, to getting healthier. And if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do in order to compel yourself and pull yourself into that, constantly toward that goal. Okay, so those are the 5 things. Let's look over them one more time real quick. The first key is go for greatness. Make sure that you're actually shooting for something that's grand and great. Number 2 is right from the heart. Be yourself. Don't be everybody else. Number 3 is get yourself into the future. Actually think and visualize 3 to 5 years down the road. Number 4 is write quickly. Don't let your pen leave the paper. Go analog. Don't type. You can type later. And then number 5 is make it personal. Use words like I and me. Okay, so that is the first step to getting going in your New Year's resolution or in your goal setting in general. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I do want to let you know that on January 4th, we are having an event called the Northern Kentucky New Year's Revolution Summit. If you are the kind of person who wants to improve and optimize your health in 2020, I encourage you to sign up for this free event. Yes, it is free for everybody who wants to attend. We are having it, like I said, Saturday, January 4th. It starts at 9 a.m. I encourage you to be there. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. We are having 4 presenters, our coaches, and then we are having Dr. Mark Johnson and Jessica Johnson from Pro Wellness Chiropractic and rehab. They're going to come and tell you how to get rid of your aches and pains as well. So we'll have 4 presenters going on. We're going to have demos going on and assessments going on as well. At any rate, if you want to optimize your health and fitness in 2020 and you want to lay out a plan to do that and make sure that you actually are getting started and keeping going, then I encourage you to sign up for the Northern Kentucky New Year's Revolution Summit. Check out the link at the bottom. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Do all of those wonderful things. And until next time, my friends, here's to your success in fitness mastery.